What is going on, Darsticks here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the current raid system that we have in the game. Just a couple of the goals maybe for the raid, like for your guild, for yourself personally, when we are going to stop investing in this raid, and then when we should start preparing for the new raid that is going to come along. As we know, this current raid, the Endor Speeder Bike Pursuit, is going to end in August, September time frame. They gave us an 8 to 9 month window of how long this will be around. So it should be around that time that it'll end. Early August, I think, is a pretty good point. Right now, as of recording this video, my guild is going for the 144 box. We hit it once, we missed it last time. We should hit it this time. It looks like the scores are a little bit better across the board. We missed it last time by like 2 million points, which is kind of frustrating, but we're only out 500 Mark III. We should be back there this time. And I personally am doing about 5 million in the raid, a little bit right around there. 5.1, 5.3, I think, is the most we've gotten. And that is primarily using guys I already had. I built up a couple things kind of a little quicker than I would have, like my Han going to Relic 8 was for the raid. Obviously, he is a requirement for Jabba, but I didn't need him at Relic 8 right now. But it doesn't hurt anything. Honestly, it has helped quite a bit with that CLS team. It helps in the raid. It's an easy 2 million for the raid. And I would say if you're like looking, if your goal right now, so let's say your guild wants to hit the 144 crate, everybody needs to get 2.8 million, basically, is what everybody needs to do in your guild to get that crate. So if you're below 2.8 million, I would say you definitely need to ramp up and get there so that you can be contributing. Now, if you're fine with wherever you're at right now and your guild's getting, whatever box reward you want to get, I would say, stay there. You're fine. That is absolutely okay. Just know that on the personal reward track, there is some of the Mark II currency on there, and I think that is pretty valuable because it does give you a lot of the pieces to get like your relic completed, relics on your characters, or get them to gear 13. There's a lot of there's a lot of right side pieces that are hard to farm and just easier to buy out of that shop, so that could be something you want to do there. But yeah, your guild, I would definitely see what you're contributing. Right now, I've been top 5, top 10 in the raid for the most part with my 5 million. So there's a couple people that are getting around 10 million, and then a few around my area, and then it goes down from there. Just looking at the last time we did it, we had about, I think we've set a goal for the guild, everybody to get 1.6 million in the raid, which honestly, with a few teams, you can do that pretty easily, without relics even on most of them. You should be able to get pretty close to that, which is kind of why we came up with that number. But obviously you put a relic or two on a team, like that is one run you saw there. I did that Piet Han. I got my 1.6 pretty easy. I got 2 million on that run. Sometimes you do have to do the run once or twice, a couple times, to get it. There is some RNG at the start, and you can always just restart if something does go wrong in the run. But overall, I think if you are going to go, if you're not happy with where your guild's at, like what rewards they're getting, like let's say you're getting 10 million in the raid and your guild overall is only getting 50, I would definitely say if there are other things, other game modes that you're not happy with either, from the guild perspective, maybe you need to look for a new guild. 10 million in the raid is obviously pretty good, and there'd be a lot of guilds out there that would be very happy to pick you up and give you a new home. But that is something you're going to have to decide for yourself. So when should we stop investing in this current raid? And I would say it is around maybe a month or two from now. So February, right now, I think March is probably where it's going to be. You're not going to get, like, if you're doing big investments, Now, if you're just bringing characters up to some requirements or something else, I think it's okay to continue to invest. Like for me, I may bring, Hera up to Relic 5. C3PO needs to go up to 7 for Jabba. Needs to go up to 5 for JML. Same thing, Jedi Knight Luke has to come up to 7 on mine. So there's going to be some incremental things anyways where I'm just going to bring a character up because it's required for somewhere else. But actually going hardcore into any of these teams, I think, that March time frame, you may double check and make sure, do you really want to spend those? Are you going to get the stuff back? Are you going to get the raid? Are you going to get enough raid rewards to really make it worth it? And that is something to definitely consider. I think as far as prepping for a new, the new raid, whatever it is, speculation right now, we are thinking it's going to be a Naboo type of raid, something to do with the Battle of Naboo, which I think will be pretty cool. I always liked that battle. I thought it was a pretty decent battle. Really cool to see the droid army and everything. It is a little, maybe a little one-dimensional for a Star Wars battle. Maybe it's two-dimensional. I guess there's this, I don't know. There's stuff going on, but it's kind of, it's interesting. A little bit of stuff going into it. So I don't know. Could there be fleets? First of all, that's the question. What would it be if there were fleets? And in that regard, I don't know what they do. If they just say it's Galactic Republic and these ships, new ships coming to the game, maybe could see that. There is a ship aspect, obviously, to the Battle of Naboo, but it's limited, I feel like, because it's really just Anakin blowing up the droid control ship. So we have that. We have the battle that happens in the plains, basically. So your Gungans versus your battle droids. We have that battle that happens. And then we have, which is just a diversion, basically, for them to get into the city, to get Princess or Padme into the city and to get to the Viceroy. So there's also that aspect, which also has two parts, I guess. You have the Naboo security forces, and then you also have Duel of the Fates. So you have Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Maul. That happens in that battle as well. So is that part of it? Could Maul be part of this new raid? I think it'd be interesting how they handle all that, what factions are involved, if they're just going to do, Separatist, Galactic Republic, or if they're actually going to divide it down like they did for the Endor raid, because not all rebels can participate in it, not all, So see how it goes. Is it going to be 3-person teams? Is it going to be 5-person? That'll be another interesting fact. Are we going to have speeder bikes? Hopefully not. Is our new unit, is the stab, is that gonna, or stap, are we gonna see that? They've said it's gonna have Trade Federation colorings for an upcoming event. So is that for this event? Is that we're gonna give it the Trade Federation colors? So that'll be interesting. How is that gonna play into it? The stap, I actually watched the Battle of Naboo the other day just to refresh myself, and the stap, aren't used a lot in the actual battle itself. You don't see them until they are doing like the cleanup where they've captured all the Gungans, and you see it before that though when they're landing on the planet. The initial invasion, they are running around quite a bit, but for the most part it's just B1 battle droids, the tanks, the repulsor tanks, and that's really the majority of the battle is just that. So it'll be interesting to see what they really do there. Obviously, like Grievous, Dooku, like a lot of the Separatist that we get, Wat Tambor, any of those, aren't in Phantom Menace. It is battle droids, B1 battle droids. Droidicas are used, and they're mainly used in the city, though. I don't remember. I guess they were used in the fields as well, because there were some that they take out, I believe, in that battle. I don't know where they came from, because that was my question. They just appear at one point and they're around Jar Jar, so I don't know where they came from. The B1s obviously come off the troop transports, and then we've got the tanks and everything. So that'll be interesting. So Droideka probably, Newt Gunray is a pretty big, as a Viceroy, he is pretty big in that episode or in that movie. So I think he could have another part. I think some of the, like his right-hand person could also be added to it if you wanted to do some more of that species. I can't think of the species name now. Somebody can tell me in the comments, I'm sure. And yeah, so that would be something interesting for that Separatist, or if you're going to do Separatists, or if you're going to do just people that were involved in the Battle of Naboo. If you're going to do Jedi, do you include, like Yoda does show up on the planet after the fact, and so do a lot of the other council shows up. Mace Windu, several others like that show up. The Jedi Master that's over Kanan Jarrus, she is actually in the end of the movie as well, showing up with the Jedi Council after the battle. So you could add her to the game, have a Bad Batch tie-in there, and Kanan Jarrus tie-in, could tie in a few things there. So that'd be interesting. But really, yeah, when do we want to prep for the new raid? And I would say right now it's all speculation, so I would not put anything into anything until we get a list of units that may be good, that'll be for this raid. If there are other requirements, like if they're going to have abilities that are different from this game mode, like Endor Speeder Bike Raid, we have things that their abilities are different in this game mode than any other game mode, so we didn't know who would be good and who wouldn't. So do you want to put investment in teams right now that aren't necessarily going to pay off right away, and may actually, some of the teams may be terrible, but like some of the stuff is going to be requirements for somebody else, and I think that is a safe spot to put them in. If you know it's a requirement. Jedi Knight Luke, requirement character. He's not great in this raid, but at Relic 7 you can throw him on another team. He can take some of the stacks, and is actually pretty decent then as far as just having another body on the field to take the stacks to make your Imperial troopers do more damage. And so is it something similar to that, or is it just going to be straight damage like we've had before? That'll be a big question, I think. And so I would wait until we get kind of a bigger road ahead announcement and then kind of go from there. We'll see what new units are going to be announced. That'll be very interesting. And I think just overall, a new raid system, I think it's good. It makes, because this raid can get very mundane. I do like the new cadence. I think it's not as time as involved. Once a week I'm doing this raid took me this 8 runs here I did in 30 minutes, and that was messing with one of the teams to try to get a better score. I got about the same score as I did, so I should have just submitted the first time, and we would have been around 20 minutes probably for the full raid. Obviously I ran one of those earlier matches on auto because really it doesn't, I ran it manually before and it doesn't really matter. So I got a similar score, and I realized, well, there's only 2, each of the characters, Wedge, it's like Wedge, whoever else, Scout, and somebody else, all have just 2 abilities, and each of them gets the stacks if I do their second ability. So I was like, well, it's actually beneficial for them to just hit that every time they have it available, even if it's not the optimal play. It is still beneficial. So doing auto didn't really hurt that score. Lando is the other one. He's actually in the leader slot for that raid or for that team. But anyways, yeah. So I think we definitely want to be looking ahead for the new raid, but I don't think we should really be doing any big time investments on just speculation until they give us some solid stuff. And then what I would do is, again, I would just, once we have some teams, if it is a requirement for a GL or something that you're going to be working on anyways, Like maybe it's like Iden Versio, I think in this one is a pretty good. She's a pilot. She also has a team. Like she's good in a lot of different game modes. So I would say Iden would be one that you could have invested in earlier on, got her up to Relic, 3 or something, 3-5. And I think that would have been a pretty good place to be at. Mine obviously is pretty low gear still. She still gets a good score in this raid, but no telling on the new raid if that's going to carry forward or not. So that's just how I see it, at least, is if you have a requirement that say needs to be, let's say, I think Newt Gunray is a requirement, right, for Lord Vader. I could see taking him up to Relic 7 or whatever he's required at for Lord Vader. Maybe you take Django up to 7 as well. He's a requirement for Jedi Master Kenobi. I don't think he's going to be in this. He doesn't have any play really in this, unless they open it up to Separatists just because they need more teams. So that would be an interesting one there. Just some thoughts though. I would just not waste a lot of resources speculating about the new raid. Whenever we have more concrete information, if you're an early game player, maybe farm up a few things that are going to be used somewhere else, and don't invest in those teams yet until, some of the bigger players come out and say, hey, this team got me, $1.5 million and it's at Relic 3 or whatever it is. And, whatever the new requirements, new point systems are going to be, whenever they come out with that stuff, then you could say, oh yeah, this is really good here. Like this is what we want to do going forward. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. So the new raid, the raid that we're currently doing, Endor raid, the 5 million that I'm getting, I'm happy with that. I feel like our guild has made a pretty good push to get to 144. Happy with those rewards. Sure, I'd love to get to 208. I think we're probably 15 million away from that. So that would be another million for each person. We have a few people that are not pulling their weight, really. They're getting 400k. There's a few people that aren't even running the raid. So I think if you got those up a million or so, we'd be pretty, I think we could hit 160 right now. And just with natural progression of people, I think we could, towards the end of this raid, hit the 208 box. I don't think we're going to push for it. It was, in discussions with the guild right now, I brought it up. I said, I think we should push for the 144. And at the time we were at like the 108 box. I was like, I think 144 is totally attainable. It's an extra 1,000 over what Mark III, over what we're getting now. And I think just a few upgrades to, a few tunes, and people are going to get that. It means more resources that we can, use to then prepare all ourselves to a better raid reward the next time and jump up. So, and help in TW, TB, all that stuff. Like those rewards are going to snowball. And so I think, it's just a discussion you can have with your guild if you're going to want to push any more. But I would say the pushing should be done on the front end. I wouldn't suggest like pushing super hard towards the end, unless you're trying to get into a better guild and you're also at the same time kind of preparing for the next raid. If you want to try to get into a better guild, I would say now is the time. People are going to be, I see ads all the time, and just looking through guild recruiting, that people are looking for, certain things. And I would say set your sites, if you're looking for a new guild, set them reasonably. If you're at 3 million GP, you shouldn't be expecting to get in a guild that's doing 30 ROTE, 30 stars, and getting the 208 crate and all this stuff. Like you need to set your stuff responsibly. Get into a guild you can actually compete in and do some work in and help contribute to that, and not just be carried, basically. So if you're doing 1 million right now in the raid, look to increase that to 2 million, and then look for a guild that's doing like 108 or so. I think that's pretty reasonable. But you need to be contributing on that level. So guild recruiters can look at your what you've done in the raid. So make sure you're consistently getting the same rewards, participating in those game modes, because we can see like just your .gg. If you go on that, you can actually see what you've done in the last, like, I don't know, all the raids you've ever participated in, I think. So usually we do go in there and say, oh, this person's getting, you know, they're getting 2.5 in the raid. That's good. It looks like they've got some good tunes for other game modes. I think they're a pretty good fit. And, you know, we've got some rules that they've got to follow. Participation, I think that's a big deal as well. Like, if you're participating in game modes, if your guild's expecting you to participate in those, hit those requirements. Be, you know, talk in your Discord, you know, be helpful. And overall, I think that's a big thing for your guild, you know, to just be helpful in that. So hopefully this video was rewarding. Hopefully you guys don't have motion sickness if you've watched all 20 minutes of this. Hopefully you don't have the motion sickness. But we did end up getting I don't think it's a record for us. 5.38. It's pretty close to what we got last time. So I'm pretty happy with that. We do get all these personal rewards. You can see after the 4 whatever million, we don't get we get Mark 3 currency, so still worth it, but it's only 100 each time. It does add up over the lifetime of this raid, so it's definitely worth it. But I like getting all the Mark 2 and everything as well. That seems to help a lot with those Gear 13 pieces that I need. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.